So my name's Monica Lowell. I'm the President and CEO of the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. We are so appreciative to be part of this wonderful celebration, this addition to our community. We have our board members here, our ambassadors, fellow members, the mayor of Monterey, our council members, Officer Castor from the Monterey Police Department, and all of you here. Supporters interested in learning about this project, learning about your vision. And I would really like to turn this over to Megan McGrew. Let's welcome her to Executive Director, Founder, Visionary for this. And she's going to share a few words, and then we're going to celebrate with her with the ribbon cutting.
Thank you for coming. The Transformative Justice Center is a newly established organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that I created, founded, dreamed up over the years. I'm Megan McGrew, Spencer Smith, and Jessica McGlaze. We are basically the roots of the program, but then we have lots of volunteers that make up the empathy and action part of it, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And then we have a lot of people that are formerly incarcerated that have been so helpful in getting this set up and are doing wonderful things in society and that deserve to be honored, which is the space is for. So the reason I created the Justice Center is because after about a decade of going into prison, I have found that people don't really have a lot of compassion or knowledge about the incarcerated. And a lot of the knowledge people do have is a huge misconception about their background, their potential for goodness, their potential for change. So there's a few things in the Justice Center. The biggest part of it is the Empathy in Action program that we all have shirts on for, and if anyone wants one, I have a lot of extra. Hats, beanies, everything. That program I run every Monday from 4 to 6 year-round. It's an 8-week commitment. It's about a 50-minute drive from Monterey, so it's not huge, but we sit in circles that we call families. We use a heart-talking piece, which is over there, and we just talk about our lives. We get into trauma, social inequities, family violence, understanding our relationship patterns, conflict mediation, gender issues, toxic masculinity, power imbalances. It becomes a really deep dive, and the beautiful thing about it is, which I was talked about earlier, is there's no distraction. No phones are allowed, no technology. So you're really in this very intimate space with the incarcerated people. We usually have around 70 to 80 in the prison that join the program, and then there's bringing in about 30 volunteers every 8 weeks. I initially only started with bringing in students because I'm a former instructor at UC Santa Cruz, and I opened it up to the whole public. So now I have people ranging in age from 16 to 80 that keep joining because you really feel the impact, and it becomes a really fulfilling and authentic opportunity to connect. So that's a big part of the center. So if you're interested in joining the program, please contact me. We're always looking for volunteers. The other part is just to come in. This is an information center, a space for incarcerated voices, because again, I feel like people in prison, even though they've done a crime, sometimes pretty heinous one or something that one might consider a major taboo, nobody was born bad. Nobody's born bad, right? So what we understand in the program is that people's backgrounds and their familial abuse and trauma has led to further harm. So there's a very common saying, hurt people, and healed people, heal people. So what we're trying to do in the prison program is focus on bringing in people who are working on healing. And hey, you don't have to be perfect. We're all kind of working through our own stuff. But to really help these individuals who have been so hurt through their lives. If you look at my poster inside, there's statistically prisoners, incarcerated individuals are the most traumatized in society. And if you go into prison and you see their living environment and how they have to endure, especially the cell, Ray, come on up. So It has been a huge help. You were incarcerated how many years?
20 years.
20 years. He helped build a prison cell and set it up, and has shared that, during COVID, people were locked in that cell for almost 2 years straight with 10 minutes out 3 times a week to take a shower. Wow. And so to imagine doing that with another gentleman or another female, using the toilet together, not having any space to exercise. You can't even stand up together, right? In the same space.
No, listen, you guys have been in there. If not, you guys could put 2 people in there and see how it is.
So it's really just to illuminate the idea of what we're doing in society, the people who have committed crime. The idea is to learn their stories, build more compassion for what they've been through, and actually contribute to their healing instead of just lock them away like they're, worthless and disposable. Because nobody is. And what we found in society and what we found in the program is almost everybody has possible for change and for transformation and for improving themselves if given the right tools. Nobody wants to live in mire, trauma and fear in their whole life. So the point of this center is really an information center to learn about incarcerated life. So what you'll see tonight are some of the videos we'll be playing throughout the day here, sharing their talents and their stories, and then of course inviting anyone from the public, but I'd really like to focus on youth, kids in college that are learning about the criminal justice system, and to just build a different system of consequence. There's never an issue of somebody's killing or doing gang violence or abusing a child or whatever it may be, that they shouldn't be removed from society because that's harmful and we don't need that. But the question is, what then? And what we're finding in prison is just a huge level of punishment and not a lot of rehabilitation. So what we're doing here tonight is just really encourage a focus on forgiveness and redemption and understanding. And you're never going to understand something that's difficult unless you get close to it. So what we do in that program is we get proximate. We get as close as you can. And that closeness creates so much intimacy and authenticity and connection that I don't think you can find out in society. That's it. So we're going to cut the ribbon. We're going to play the video that Spencer and Vince created together. And then I'd like to have a panel. We're having a panel of 4 formerly incarcerated individuals talking about their life and answering any questions you have about the system.
Don't cut. Start with this camera. Wonderful. And everybody else with a camera, please.
Ooh, big smiles, guys. Yes, you did it.
You did it.
Woo!
Go Megan.
So we're going to go up higher to make a good fight.
All right. And I think we should count down, yes?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My name is Tyler Wimson, Mayor of Monterey, and I just wanted to give so much love and appreciation and gratitude to Megan for getting this going. It's so important that we share love and empathy, and I think that's something that's oftentimes missing in society, but particularly in the political space. So I want to help uplift the work that's being done by great folks like Megan. Speaking of college students, when I went to Cal State Monterey Bay, and one of the classes that I took there was restorative justice, and it completely changed my mind in regards to recognizing the issues that exist within our current justice system and how we can do so much better. The idea of just locking people up and the stigma associated with it is not just a problem for folks that have been incarcerated, it's a problem for our entire society. And it's a failure on our own part to really address the issues as it relates to incarceration, to justice overall. When we can't really recognize the issues that are underlying that causes people to do bad things sometimes, and how do we make them better, make them whole. And so I just want to give you so much love and gratitude for what you're doing, and just use this as an opportunity for all of us to help spread the message, spread the word, so that more folks know what's going on. This is for people, everyday folks that don't think that they need this, right? So we need to help spread the word and help uplift the work that Megan's doing so that we can help continue making the world a better place, starting right here in Monterey. So thank you, everyone.
One more formality. So if you don't mind. So I'll say, let it be known, on this Thursday, November 14th, 2024, in Monterey, California, the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce celebrates the Transformative Justice Center with a grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony.
Thank you all for coming. It's a really big turnout, and I'm so impressed. Sorry, I wish it was a little bigger. Now you know what I'll expand over when I get more money. No, I'm super grateful for the space, and I'm really grateful for all of you. You all had been such instrumental in my life, and I just can't thank you enough for caring. That's what we need more of. So we're gonna show a video that shows a lot about these guys' lives. Spencer, I think you're on that. I also want to thank Lisa and Vince and Aaliyah and all the men that have helped set this up. My friends. Yeah, thank you all. So that's
okay, folks. So Megan and I met on when we were doing this program, and thank you for connecting those two non-profits together. It's amazing. So this was Life on Art, and these are all incredible stories of their own, and each one of them has a mini documentary, so you can actually download this app here called Bloomberg Connects, and you can see the stories behind each one of these hearts, which is incredible.
there are hundreds more.
There are hundreds more, yeah, but we
We'll
did.
play with you tonight.
Yeah, Megan and I began working together because we're hoping to make a lovely promotional film which will help people to understand a little bit deeper about what this incredible magic is of volunteers going in from our communities and seeing and sitting with Brothers in Blue, which is incredible. And so we've begun filming, so these are just, if it plays, these are just very small little pieces, little cuts, a little bit from this project, but also the new filming that we've done together. So.
John Price. At 12 years old, I went through a scare scrape program. The difference between me then and now is 28 years of consistent incarceration. I didn't make my right choices at the time, now I do.
My name is Dale William Gutierrez. I'm 44 years old, and I've spent my entire adult life in prison. At the age of 18, I committed and was convicted for first-degree murder, 4 attempted murders, conspiracy to commit murder, assault with a fully automatic firearm, and participation in a criminal street gang. As a result of my actions, I was sentenced to 173 years with 9 consecutive life terms. February 20th, 1999. It's titled Who Would Have Thought? And if it inspires anyone to do anything today, I hope it's think. Johnny Sikosi, you were only 15. At that age where everything seemed shiny and bright, the endless possibility and potential for your future clearly in sight. Who would have thought February 20th would be your last night? How something so trivial, merely a verbal altercation, could escalate into murder. We like to say that everything happens for a reason, that it's all part of God's plan. There's no reason for this. You died by my hands.
After our exercise in empathy class, we're all talking about our life and we're talking about what we've been through and stuff. And so it really just continues on feeding my motor and my fuel. Just see that ability in myself and bring it forth.
My name is Derek Booker. Well, I want to say prison, much like life, is a journey. In prison, I was able to get my GED. I got a college degree, and then I went and got another college degree. I've been making my time count. I take groups. I learn about empathy, compassion. I learn about substance abuse, domestic abuse. Any chance I get, I'll take a group. I've seen many of the men here in this group, in other groups, and we have a community. It's not perfect, but people are working on themselves and they deserve a chance. So that's what I would put out to the world. Don't give up on us yet.
I recommend it to anybody who gets a chance to do it, volunteers coming in or the inmates taking it. It was healing to hear a lot of the people's stories on the outside that haven't been to prison, that some of them had the same stories as mine, and you know, as far as being abuse and things. So, and it helped me see that you don't have to act out with violence too, because these people didn't. They're not in here. I'm in here, but some of their stories are the same as mine. I really want to thank the volunteers for coming in. I appreciate it very much.
The men, they want change, and that's what's transformative. We want to do the best for ourselves, to be better men, to be someone different than who we were, and we want to be the best for our children, our wives, our mothers, our family. And with an opportunity, we can do that.
What time is it? Where are we? Here. And why are we here? To love, to be loved, and be all that we can be. Good job, guys. Very well done.
So that's a little snippet. I requested to play one more video of one of my favorite, I don't have favorites, but of somebody, a favorite song that he did so beautifully. Joe, yep. If you want to hear more of these stories, we have about 82. Exactly 82. You would just scan this QR code and you could scroll through all of them and hear them talk about their lives and how we created this heart project.
I don't think I can change. I've been behind these walls too long. Sometimes I can barely breathe. I try to stop the change in me, but it's been too long. I stay up at night just to look at the sky, or one of those stars burning for me. I ask the Lord, give me strength, and please don't turn your face from me. Please don't turn your face from me. And I remember your smiles, yes I do, that my loved ones had for me. I used to come over, you would run and shout, and running just to embrace me. But now I sit looking at the sky, wondering if these walls, is there someone thinking of me? So then I look to the sky, do do I see that star? Please won't you burn for me? Please won't you burn for me? 'Cause I don't think that I could change, no. I've been behind these walls too long.
I think what gave me the inspiration was sitting on the bleachers during COVID and just realizing that, you know, I never felt more alone than at that time. And it gave me a recognition of what I've lost and also what I found and what I still have, you know, which is obviously myself, the groups, my brothers, and Christ Jesus, who was my Lord. And that inspiration flowed into this music, and I wrote it the best way that I could, you know.
And then have a panel of 4 gentlemen that have spent a significant time in prison to talk about their lives. So all of these gentlemen have been incarcerated at various institutions, but we've all met along the way. A few have been my students. I taught for Hartnell College for 6 years at Salinas Valley and CTF Sociology, and then running the Empathy in Action program. We've met along the way. So I'm going to let each individual just introduce yourself, maybe say a little bit about where you're from, maybe what you feel comfortable sharing as far as what happened to your life prior to incarceration. And then I kind of just wanted to leave it open to the public to ask questions that they might be curious about.
Hello, I'm Casey. 13 and a half years of incarceration for myself. I have a very typical story. The gentleman that I was in with, it's the same thing we all told each other. I saw myself and my experience in probably 80 or 90% of the men I was there with. So the gentleman that I was in with and myself had a very shared experience. One of the things about how often our stories overlap is something that showed me that there are very simple, easy ways that we can get involved in people's lives before crime becomes an option. Getting into this kind of work and the motivation to get to this place is in large part due to Miss Megan, whose wonderful dream this is. She was my sociology professor, and she had me do this assignment. It's to write your own eulogy.
Oh, wow.
Have your eulogy say what you would want said. And it created this space for me to kind of, she's got it right here for anybody who wants to read it. It's this way to see where you want to be in a very stark manner, and it gave me space to see how I could get there. And then her encouragement along the way, since we've met, has really led me into getting into social work myself, getting involved, and doing what I can to try and help people that are transitioning.
Graduate with an AA from the program. At CTF, it probably took, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
And that's no fault of your own.
No, I was actually the first person in the state to graduate from California's Rising Scholars Community College program.
So my name is Greg Hamilton. Interestingly enough, my mentor in prison, standing near Doc, shot me the flyer for this event tonight. I got it 2 days ago. I called Megan up, gave her a brief thing, and she says, hey, you know, I want you to come and speak. Serendipitous. So here's my background. I am not the typical guy. I grew up in the suburb of Cleveland, called Shaker Heights, very affluent. Father was a doctor, mother was a nurse practitioner. Fast forward, Vietnam vet. Fast forward, went to college. Fast forward, successful in marketing for years. And post-traumatic stress slipped up on me. Murdered 2 people. Did 38 years in prison. 76 years old, 38 years there, 38 years here. I think the 38 years there was more beneficial than the 38 years here. I thought I was that guy, you know, because we define success by the stuff we have versus the character that we have. While in prison, I got another degree, bachelor's degree in theology and a master's degree in psychology. Teaching many classes in mental health and you name it. You know, managed to graduate cum laude in both. Now, the message I want to say here is something. I was in the county jail the other day speaking, and the guy, correctional officer, deputy, he had no idea that I had been in prison, and he was talking about us guys, the people who were in prison, and us guys, bad guys. So I said, well, let me share something with you. First of all, some of the most intelligent people I ever met was in prison. Some of the most creative people are in prison. And they want the same thing that everybody else in society wants. They just don't know about how to go about doing it. And they need somebody to help them get directed. Then I posed something to them. I said, do you understand that those guys are your neighbors? Those guys are your children. Those guys are your uncles. Those guys are just people like us guys. No one would have ever thought that me, one of those guys, would have spent 38 years in prison for murder. I'm a decorated vet. I have all of the criteria to say this guy would never go to the joint. Well, that's not true. So the question that I posed is, just speaking to California, what is wrong with a society that has to lock up 200,000 of its citizens? The problem is not the prisoner. The problem is what's going on in society that you have 200,000 prisoners. And you hit it on the mark there, Mayor, when you said we need to do some self-examination because these are our sons, daughters, uncles, fathers, etc. So what do we need to do to alleviate that problem? And then when those guys re-enter society, what do we need to do to make sure that they are brought back as successful citizens, not ex-cons? They're citizens that are coming back into society. And we need to do everything we can do to help them get reestablished in society and be successful, because it's not like they're not talented. And it's not like it can't happen. So now I'll be kind of self-aggrandizing and then I'll shut up. I've been out for 2.5 years. I pastor at a homeless shelter. And I'm involved in a lot of things in the community. I just bought an $800,000 house. I've got 2 Mercedes in the driveway, and I think I dress pretty nice. But who would have thought that a guy coming out of prison after 2.5 years that could happen? Well, you know, fortunately I have the acumen, the skills, etc. But that could happen to anybody in there if society supports them. And with that.
Hi everybody, my name is Donnie Veal. I'm the program coordinator for the Rising Scholars program at Cabrillo College. I'm also formerly incarcerated. In 1996, I was convicted of a non-fatal shooting in San Jose, California that resulted in me receiving 34 years in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. I got out of prison on October 11, 2019, and paroled to the Watsonville region. I'm from San Jose. And I was given an opportunity by my brother who said, you know, I want you to come live with me. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to worry about food. I just want you to go to school. Little did I know that he was really teaching me giving me some valuable lessons at that time. Basically teaching me how to fish. So I went to school, went to Cabrillo, managed to graduate within 5 months because I was taking some college courses while I was incarcerated at Salinas Valley State Prison. Graduated from Cabrillo, went on to UCSC, where I met Megan. She was my professor, and I got involved in the Exercises in Empathy program where I had an opportunity to go back. I could have turned my back, I could have ran away after doing all that time, but you know, like my counterpart here, he hit it on the nose, that there's definitely some of the most intelligent and creative people are still locked up. With that belief, I felt like I would use my own experience to try to help give people hope, because as I've witnessed in my journey, that once a person loses hope, then it's a quick decline from their mental health and their physical health. So I love to use my own experience and story to try to lead people, actually give them that rope of hope so that people don't fall into that darkness and that abyss. Putting myself forward and just trying to do what I can to just give other people an opportunity, trying to pull somebody else out of that bucket so they can have an opportunity to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, be able to get some of their autonomy back, and just live a successful life in society. So please, when you ask your questions, don't be scared, don't be intimidated to ask me whatever it is that you want to ask. I'm an open book. No question is too personal, no question is too invasive. I want this to be a dialogue between us where you can really gain a better understanding and knowledge about the people that we are, the people that society likes to shun. One more thing before I leave, we cannot have correction without connection. So Megan, thank you for making this connection. I appreciate you. Thank you.
My name is Raymond Avila. At the age of 17 years old, I was sentenced to prison for 40 years for 4 counts of attempted murder on rival gang members. I grew up in Salinas, California. My mother and father were alcoholics and crack addicts, which turned me to the streets to find love. Continued down a destructive path, hurt a lot of people, sent to prison as a juvenile. It was scary because I was thrown with grown men to survive. So the only thing I knew was to be violent. So I continued down that path for a long time. About 2015, they told me my mom had 6 months to live. She ended up passing away due to her addiction and health problems. In 2015, matter of fact, today, I met my wife, Samantha Adler. We got married 9 years ago today. So with that, I started questioning myself, do I really want to continue down this path? Do I still want to spend the rest of my life like this? After losing my mother, family members, good things were happening in my life now. I met my wife, started taking self-help programs. I didn't get to meet Megan until about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it was through Miss Summers, who's been like a mother figure to a lot of us inside. So I joined the dog program and was a lead educator for the dog program for 6 years. With them coming in and just giving us love and humanizing us again, it made me just want to do better. I never received that love in the household, so having it from people like them really made me change my life. And like you said, what the mayor was talking about, like what's going on, no one asks those questions, like why would a 17-year-old kid do that? It was like, let's punish them, send them off, and that's the problem. I've seen guys that were only 15, 16 years old get sent to prison, not YA, not juvenile hall, to prison. There was 20 of us from Salinas that were in prison like that. And like Donnie said, no questions too personal. I'm an open book, and I appreciate all you guys for being here. And thank you, Megan. It means a lot.
underground scholars?
I am underground scholars representative.
Ah, okay. My son went through underground scholars, and it's been a miracle.
I worked for
Could you-
underground scholars for 2 years as well.
Could you
Oh,
talk
sweet.
about what that is?
Yeah.
Okay,
what is
sorry.
it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a few programs for the California community colleges. There's a program called Rising Scholars, and Rising Scholars is requiring community colleges throughout the state that have a prison or jail within a certain distance of them to start offering classes to the incarcerated population. That's where I got my first degree. The other programs are for the UC systems. There's the Underground Scholars, which is a continuation to enroll in the UC system if you've been formerly incarcerated or justice impacted. The Underground Scholars are there to help that process. I don't know about you guys, but almost 15 years of being behind on technology, I was completely overwhelmed just trying to re-enroll. They're there for that. These are I went through that experience, and because I had to navigate it the hard way, I can understand where they're coming from and the frustrations that they're about to face trying to do it. There's also living cost funding, tuition assistance, food gift cards. Like these guys that are running the program are really going out into the community and gathering everything because they believe, and I believe, that the antonym to crime isn't punishment, it's education.
What we've come to understand in the Rising Scholars Program, sorry about that, is that education has a real transformative power in it. And if I can throw some little statistics out there real quick, in the United States, the current recidivism rate is between 61 and 68%. So, meaning that a person has a 61 to 68% chance of returning back to prison or jail within 3 years of their release. But there's only one kind of data that has a positive impact on the recidivism rate, and that's education. So if you start at the very beginning, a high school diploma or equivalent would reduce the chances of recidivism down to 50%. So immediately we can see just by going through that part of education that we can start to have an impact on that recidivism rate. But if we take it a step further, and if a person is able to obtain a vocation or a certification, that would reduce their chances of recidivating down to approximately 30%. A certification or vocation is not that much time to invest in yourself in order to increase your chances of staying home. We take it another step forward and we go to our associate's degree. If a person is able to obtain their associate's degree, they would reduce their chances of recidivating down to 13.7%. And we can see why it's so important that he was able to obtain his AA degree while he was incarcerated to increase his chances of being successful upon his reentry into society. If we take it one more step further, if a person is able to obtain their bachelor's degree, they would reduce their chances of recidivating down to 5.6%. It took me 3 years and 10 months to obtain my bachelor's degree from UCSC. Then we go one more step further, right, after your bachelor's. If a person is able to obtain their master's or higher, they would reduce their chances of recidivating down to 0%. So when we think about education, really we need to ask ourselves, why aren't we investing more in educating our prison population? What is the real question behind that, correctly? So with that being said, he did mention our programs that are in our UC, CSU, and our community colleges.
I forgot about Project Rebound.
Oh yeah, CSU. Project Rebound is the other program that caters to students that have been system impacted in our CSU system. So that's why our education programs, especially for formerly incarcerated, is very important, because that's the only data out there that has a positive impact on our recidivism rate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just wondering, one of the biggest challenges, and this is a combination of documentaries, Hollywood, and all that, because I don't have first-hand connection, that it seems like in the prisons is the power structure within the inmate population and the guard population itself, and the way, just like peer pressure in a high school or even in elementary school pulls kids down. It seems like that reality, at least the way it's portrayed in a lot of different media, is so, I mean, to me it's just terrifying to think about it. So how did you all handle that, or is it wrongly portrayed? And what happens once you step away? And how do you just keep yourself safe? Yeah.
That's a great question, and especially when you walk into prison. A guy like myself, I'd never been to jail. I mean, I didn't have a clue. But it just took me standing back and watching. So I'll give you this. I told a young guy who came in, his father had been in, and his father said, they used to call me Ham in prison. He says, go see Ham when you get to prison, he'll lace you up. So when he came into the prison, he looked me up. Youngster come up, is your name Ham? I took my hands out of my pocket, put my face on. And he said, my father told me to come talk to you. I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. Now, first of all, I want you to know that I did 35 of my 38 years in Folsom State Prison. That's one of the most dangerous prisons on the planet. So you can imagine what the culture shock I had. So I told this youngster, I said, I want you to go out and sit in the middle of the yard. And I want you to take a quarter turn every 15 minutes. And in an hour, come back and see me. He did it. He came back. I was working in the chapel. He says, I went out and I did it. I says, now you know exactly what not to do. That's how you survive in prison. You do you. They do them, you do you. You mind your business, they do their business. That's none of my business, right? But that's no different than being out here on the streets, right? You see certain things, you say, I don't need to be there. I don't need to hear this. And you just stand on your own. And people respect that. At first you get a little problem, but as you hold the line, then people start respecting where you're coming from, because the key to it is showing strength, showing resolve. And that's how one really survives in there. And it doesn't matter whether you're coming out of the gang, as soon as you stand up and say, you know what guys, I'm through. I'm gonna do me. And at a certain point, they respect that. So that's my solution.
This is something that is super important to me. There's meaningful mentorship that happens, right? So when you are from a traumatic space, when you are in that stress adolescence, right? You grow up in violence and in addiction, you're going to be really good at being really bad, right? But there are people along the way, right, that step into your lives and give you space to see something different. My first one was, I was in the hole. It was about 7 months. I was there by myself in a cell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I got 15 minutes for a shower every third day, and that was it. There was a guy in the cell next to me that said, you sound like a good kid. What are you doing? And I'd never really, you know what I mean? Like 27 at that time. I had never really taken the time to think, what am I doing? Fight after fight, violence, addiction. I'd never had space to stop and think about it. And sitting in that cell with that guy giving me that positive influence, I dropped out the next day. I dropped out the very next day. For those of you that don't know, that's when you're going from the active gang race politics population into somewhere else. And I'd had enough. I haven't looked back. Mentorship.
Let's do one more question. And I just actually wanted to have, if anyone could raise your hand in the room that's been formerly incarcerated, because I know there's a number of you. So thank you for showing up. I wish you could all be up here. The other thing, raise your hand if you're in an empathy program, because there's a number of you in here. And look at all these beautiful people that care. So thank you. Thank you so much. hope more of you join. The winter program starts January 6th.
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to make a correction. Brother Hamilton there said you stay in your own lane. I was at Old Folsom when he was there. That man saved my life. Gangbangers were going to jump on me because I had been targeted because I'm not a gangbanger. I was just a prisoner doing my own thing. And that man right there used his reputation to save me. So the mentorship is real. That's how I was able to survive in that environment. So I need to correct that. You are the one that was influential.
He is the one.
Thank you.
So I just want to thank all of you and all of you for coming. My intention was actually to we had a sound healer tonight, and a shamanic healer and a medium and a beautiful woman that has come also from a background of trauma and is on her healing mission and wants to join the program. And she was going to bless the space with about 3 minutes of a sound healing. So I'd like to invite you up, Arena. And then we'll play our video, and you're free to come or go or ask these guys questions. But I do want to honor that and just kind of remind you that the incarcerated population are not evil people. They're really beautiful people that we should call survivors that have been through so much in a very traumatizing system that we've set up in this society. And at the end of the day, if you've had harm done to you, I encourage you to have the courage to talk to the person that hurt you instead of just wanting them to be locked up or disappeared or punished, because there's so much beauty that comes in understanding. So I want to give you one more round of applause.
Well, first I want to say thank you to everybody who came, everybody who stayed along and listening to these beautiful human beings and their experience, and who have shared this very, 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 very important moment for our community. My name is Marina, and I am a medium and a sound healer, and I always wanted to play music for incarcerated people. And one day I walked into Luminada, that's a shop around up here on the hill. The owner, Leslie, we talked a little bit, and I was telling her I would like to play those bowls for incarcerated people. And she said, hey, I know somebody. So she introduced me somehow to Megan, and the bowls cannot be played, but shamanic in the prisons. But another tool that I have is the drum, which is very powerful. And music in general has a way to get to you in a way that you don't have to think nothing. And it tries to reach a part of you that has been untouched yet, but wants to be seen and acknowledged. And the deepest part in us, we need to open up so that we feel worthy to receive good, to receive education, to receive love, is our heart space. I myself come from a very shamanic background, a very violent family, and it took me many years and a big, big, big sacrifice in my life to understand my heart needs to be open, that I feel worthy. Our worth is non-negotiable. It cannot be taken away. But we have to learn to not feel worthy enough to receive whatever we need. And the most that we need is love for ourselves. So we feel that we have dignity, we feel we have worth, and we feel, yes, we can build a life that is really loving and caring. So tonight I want to bless you, Megan. I want to bless all of you, Megan's team. I want to bless the beautiful people here I want to bless everybody here, and I wish from my heart that this space and you guys' work, your personal work, everybody's work is reaching a level that we can speak up, share our light and our love with this community, and make people understand we can do a new cycle in our life, one that is not filled with violence. And I invite you tonight to understand, if we don't want to repeat old cycles, what is a new cycle you want to start for yourself in your life?
Thank you. Okay.
But you will hear it.
Oh, they vibrate.
Yeah, they will vibrate. You just have to be a little quiet and just open up your ears and your heart. The rest will follow.
I just want to mention the beautiful mural that you see on the front was done by Hannah. He's here in the back. If you want to give a wave, the most beautiful mural I've ever seen, so thank you for that. And then we have another artist here, Jim, that handmade all the counters you see with the epoxy. Took a long time too. It was beautiful work from scratch, and he also did this step here. And then the cell was built by Larry and his wife, and Ray helped out a lot and his wife. So it's all been a huge team effort of people coming together. I'll read in this evening. You'll see this kind of file cabinet looking thing. Each section has a variety of essays written by incarcerated people about their lives. So the top one is their autobiographies. There's probably about 100. Eulogies that the men have written, how they want to be remembered when they pass. We have a number of essays on the impact of social class and poverty on incarceration. We have essays on the impact of being separated from their children. I have essays on the differentiation between free will and trying to understand sociological impacts of people's decisions. So, I hope what we illustrated or shared with you is just the deep loneliness that people feel when they're incarcerated and how much they're striving for goodness and change and positivity and connection. And there's so much talent and so much wisdom. As some of the guys said, some of the most wisest, intelligent, well-read people I've ever met have been incarcerated. And I think it's time we stop demeaning people for actions that we don't understand, especially coming from a place of hurt. So whether you come to prison with us or not, I just encourage you to reach out to people and to find connection, because that's really what we were all looking for, right? Connection and love and healing and visibility. So I couldn't have done this work without people like Vince and Lisa and Spencer and my sweet little children who put up with me going to prison 4 times a week and having them stay after school here, and all the volunteers and all the support I've gotten from everybody. So please enjoy the night that you have, and thank you so much for coming, and please come back. We love you.
We love you.